Okay.
But, you know, and there was an obvious, like, collision that happened, but you know.
Tell me when the recorder's on.
We're on?
We're on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't pull around, which is good.
It being 6:30, I will call the meeting to order. This is the Enfield Planning Board. It is Wednesday, the 14th of February, 2024.
Valentine's Day, just
Yeah.
because my wife reminded me like 4 times before I left the house tonight.
You better show up with something when you go home. So here we
Linda's
are.
Just joined us.
Linda just joined us. Okay, so we're gonna do, roll call, starting from my left.
Dan Kylie.
I'm David Frack.
Brad Rich,
Eric Russell.
Kurt Carhart.
Whitney Banker, alternate.
And on the Teams platform, we can't hear
On
you. Unmute yourself.
We got her.
Linda Jones.
Oh, okay.
what's the temperature, Linda?
It was a high of about 67 today. There's a lot of whining down here about it, but the roads are quite passable and dry.
So are ours.
Frozen.
Yeah, no, I saw it again.
Okay, we have a few more guests. David and Sharon, do you want to sign in? We have a back of a napkin today. Basically, we don't have the official printed form because Rob is on vacation and his office is locked, so we can't get any of the good stuff like name tags or
We couldn't
anything
find
else.
any agenda for this meeting anywhere.
It wasn't posted?
And we called the town office and they didn't know either.
Okay, noted, thank you.
Can we ask what's on the agenda?
Sure,
Sure. Not a
I'll even
lot.
give you mine,
I
Um,
don't need to take your agenda.
so you can have it.
We can take a look at it anyway.
It's an easy-
we have,
It's an easy night.
public comment, no hearings, one conceptual, select board report, legislative report, approved minutes, update on the New Hampshire HOP grant, update on master planning task force and appointing or reappointing members, new business and old business. So that having been said, if there's anyone here who would like to say anything that does not relate to an agenda item, now is the chance for public comment. Anyone?
I was referred here by Ed yesterday, saying that you were the ones that, were gonna be dealing with, what you call the Maple Street project. Or
Yeah.
Maple Street development.
At some point, actually, that is tonight. I'm sorry. It's a subdivision conceptual. So, no hearings, I guess we can get on to the conceptual. Arthur Felix Petuso, how badly did I mess up your name?
I'm not sure really good.
I just have a question. If we go on to the conceptual, are we out of the public comment section?
If you have public comment to make, can public comment on
Yeah,
conceptual?
on a conceptual,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, well,
Yes.
it's a board chair
right.
Yeah.
decision, but typically
Yeah.
it's written.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
give more feedback for us.
I have no objection to that, so, Art, you wanna, Arthur or Art? Why don't you take the chair over there and,
maybe you want to, we are trying to buy a piece of land that Wilson is selling,
Okay,
so maybe you, know
Need to sell
better.
it.
Sure.
okay, so come on forward and hopefully you brought some, maps with you.
Nope. I wasn't sure if you guys would have that on hand or not. If we-
I have a couple copies here. Who's this?
Okay,
Is this,
That looks right.
is that the one we're looking at?
okay,
Just look at it just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Map help, do you guys want me to pull that?
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great, actually. So, I own approximately 30 acres or so across Canaan and Enfield, and it's pretty much like split
Mhm.
roughly 50-50 or so. And Arthur and Bev, would like to purchase the Canaan side of it. So we've had some conversations with Canaan as well. And they're primarily concerned with, frontage for the most part. And that needs to have 500 feet of frontage onto some main road or some road.
mhm,
So that would either have to go to May Street, by crossing over someone else's land, or what I was proposing was possibly just extending Brady Road, which is, the road you can kind of see on the Enfield, lot that goes into May Street. Possibly just continuing, Brady Road so that, you could get the 500 feet of frontage, but just through Enfield instead of Canaan. So want to make sure that both of those things sounded reasonable to everyone. Yeah,
Painfully slow, sorry, guys.
okay.
Sure.
If the map that you're looking at is the same one that I got a link to, I couldn't figure it out, to be honest with you.
well, what was confusing about it? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, first off, there was no lot number, and I could not find anything that looked like it on the town GIS map.
Really?
Secondly, if we are to approve a subdivision, we need dimensions of all of the lot lines, including the dimension of the road frontage. I think you had the acreage there.
Twin State Surveys, did go out I think into the sub-foot, accuracy as to how much land, what was there in the survey, and I assume that we'd have to, have a more modern survey done, since I think this one was done in, 86 or so.
What's the last?
Yeah, I mean, you've got,
Schreiber, SCHREI, B as in Bravo, ER, yeah, that one.
you've
sorry.
got, May Street in 3 different sections.
Okay, very full.
Yeah.
Can you look up the part that the copy of this paper copy, so we're all looking at the same page? I think that would be helpful.
I do not think so. If it's an email that's not
Right,
connected
it's
to
not
this.
there.
Yeah, and this is
Yeah.
not nearly as good as what we're looking at here.
Right,
Okay,
but this is what he's using for,
Yeah, this doesn't even have Brady on it that I could really see.
right.
Yeah.
it doesn't. Is Brady a town road or a private road?
That's also a good question. I was hoping you guys would be able to tell me that as well, because there is an Enfield town road marker on it,
Yeah, it's
But-
town road.
but it is not maintained by the town.
Right.
So it's a class 6?
Private, could
No,
be private,
it's a private.
could be
Okay.
private.
Yeah,
Private.
it doesn't say private on the
No, no.
placard, but that probably doesn't mean anything.
Okay,
But so that's the Enfield portion of
Right.
the lot. And the Canaan portion kind of continues along, like, similar to what's shown in this other map that you have here.
Right.
Another area of concern that's been brought up a couple times was that we don't really know where the state line, or sorry, the town line falls.
mhm,
So depending on whose maps you look at, you could possibly see that my house that I'm paying taxes for currently in Enfield is on the Canaan side. And some maps you look at, it's on the Enfield side. I'm currently paying more in taxes in Enfield than I am in Canaan, for whatever that's worth. And the address is in Enfield, again, for whatever that's worth. But some of the discrepancies that we've seen kind of fall along this thinner perforated line up here. I'm sorry, the guys probably on the webcast can't see this, but, so there may be some discrepancies there as well. The taxes I'm paying for in Canaan say 11 acres. The lot here says closer to 14, 15 acres. So there is some, again, a survey would likely need to be done to provide some of the accuracy that you're talking about.
Yeah.
In addition to what Twin State Surveys did back in '86. So given that information, to be presented at a later time, once the surveys are completed, would there be any reason why we wouldn't be able to make this or make a sale go through?
Well, does your lot, or does the Canaan portion of the land have any frontage on May Street?
No.
No.
That's a problem. That's gonna be a Canaan problem. Well, sort of both of us really,
Yeah, I mean,
because if we approve to a subdivision, who's approving the subdivision? Is it us, Enfield, or is it Canaan?
Sounds like both.
both, it would have to be,
A joint.
it would have to be a joint. Because it spans both towns.
Unless he, in theory, is making a new lot in Canaan.
I haven't heard that before,
Well,
but
he is,
Right.
but that would have to be approved by the Canaan Planning Board, wouldn't it?
Well,
Yeah. I mean, if he's only selling land in Canaan, which is what he's saying.
yeah,
your house,
this-
according to Enfield, your house is located in Enfield,
yes, at least
so that's your legal address, is Enfield.
Right.
yes,
Right.
yeah,
They're just selling vacant land in Canaan.
He owns vacant land in Canaan.
But you need street access
Right.
for that land.
and can that street access be via Brady Road? Even if it is a private road, from what Rob was mentioning to me before,
He's
that-
online.
oh, he is, oh, fantastic, maybe he can speak to this as well. But from when he's invited, he's not here,
Yeah, that's me.
but,
I thought
okay,
it's
so,
accepted.
I
Okay.
don't want to speak completely on his behalf, but from,
Right.
what he was saying or telling me before was that, that I could service, a couple lots of land through Brady Road without having to have it be like a fully maintained Enfield road. It would just be a private road that
Be a
Three
driveway.
lots.
3 lots.
Right.
So even if this were, if this were to proceed, that would still fall within the private road.
It would be
Yeah.
considered a driveway.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're considering just extending Brady Road up onto, to give it the frontage.
Right, but
Like
you
from Brady
can't-
Road.
I mean, you can't extend Brady Road, obviously.
Yeah, it would
It's
just be,
not your road to extend. You could have a driveway coming off of the Brady Road.
Well,
yeah, and that's pretty much what we're talking
well,
about.
but you have problem right now, well, okay, those lots, trying to read it, 62, 35, the abutting lots on Brady Road.
Yeah.
But then you got 63A.
So where is sorry, can you zoom back out? I can't
Move
see
back
what
out
63
again.
yet.
No,
So
Yeah.
62
Yeah,
and 35
63
have road frontage on May Street.
right,
So yeah,
63A
does
and
not.
63 2A do not.
right.
Well,
They're currently on Brady Road.
yeah, so 63 2A is my lot and it has the frontage onto Main Street because there's that little line that extends out.
well,
That's
See-
part of
see it
Brady
now.
Road, though.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's still technically part of the lot, is it?
It's 2 lots, though.
It's,
2 lots off of that road currently.
Right,
right,
yeah,
but,
so you
One
could,
more.
you could add the third,
Yeah.
Not the third, right.
right,
which would be the one in Canaan,
yes,
right,
according to our rules.
Yeah.
right.
Now, what Canaan would say about that,
Canaan, so I
we don't know.
I spoke with Canaan already and they said that'd be fine as long as it was okay with you guys.
yeah, because he's using our Brady Road as his frontage.
Yeah.
Meaning private.
Private,
So it's
right,
it's an unmaintained town
Town
road.
No. Town road is class 6. Non-maintained town road is class 6.
Right, it's
That
not a
is not a
non-maintained.
class 6 road.
Okay, so,
it's a
I
maintain,
did the study on class 6
okay,
roads. That is
so it's not a town road at
That
all.
is not a town road at
no,
all.
it's a private
That's an
road.
important.
Yeah.
piece.
So who maintains that road today?
I maintain it, and then also the people at
The Brady's.
63A, 63A of 10 Brady Road maintains that collectively.
Right.
And your lot is which one that your house is on?
The one that selected, 63A, or 63-2-A.
Okay.
The one in yellow.
Right,
Yeah, that one.
which basically extends out another either 11 to 14 acres,
Yeah.
depending on
On who you
what the
believe.
surveyor is going to say.
Yeah,
One question for him. As he thinks about how to subdivide it, because he can have 3 lots, so he can do it.
Right,
That lot can't just be in Canaan, if I'm remembering, it has to actually have frontage on Brady Road, because the state doesn't like rights
Can't have a
away
back
back
lot.
lots.
can't have a back lot,
Right, you have to, at least on paper,
right,
can show Brady Road as a dedicated right of way.
Yeah,
But doesn't the lot have to come and have the frontage on the road?
No,
No.
well, there's,
I don't
I can
think
read
so.
it, I can read the RSA right now.
Yeah,
I was just reading it. There's a bunch of them, class 5, class 6, and then private road. But as with class 6 roads, only if the governing body, after consulting with the planning board, has adopted a policy allowing building on that particular private road or portion thereof, and then only if the owner has recorded a notice in the registry of deeds acknowledging that the town is not liable for maintenance or damage that might occur. So,
okay,
so
we have, the Enfield has a policy for class 6 roads, and we allow straw buildings to be on class 6 road.
right,
So that's covered there.
don't we need a hearing for the specific lot or the select board?
Doesn't say anything.
this isn't a class 6 road.
right.
Okay, you're right.
The private road, there's
Okay.
no.
But it's just,
No,
hey,
it's
private road-
purely make sure that it's compliant with the law
Right.
to get the access proper.
no,
and that's what they have to
well,
worry about.
well, it says
The
a private
access,
road,
the driveway access will be right to the town line.
but it says only if the governing body, after consult, has adopted a policy. So select board has adopted a class 6 road policy, which it also defaults to private roads.
Right.
So,
So basically that driveway has to be a right of way over your property
Yeah.
to the Canaan town line.
yeah, that makes sense.
Whatever
And-
happens
and
past the
indeed.
Canaan town
And
line,
indeed, yeah, that would have to, yeah. for
right,
sure.
it's gonna be an issue on the other side. And I don't know what Canaan has for regulation on the other side. If they're just saying, as long as you've got frontage,
500 foot, yeah.
just get a letter from the town of Canaan.
Yeah.
Saying is if you, the ability for you to have frontage in Enfield on Brady is all they're looking for, then the lot can be subdivided to the town line.
Sure.
Whatever he wants to build past that,
Yeah, that's on them.
It's not on us.
With Canaan.
and you will need a surveyor to lay out that road, at least on paper.
there's obviously gotta
To
be
be
a right of
recorded.
way.
I'm sorry?
It's gotta be a right of way.
Yeah,
also.
Yeah, but it has to be, it can't be like you penciling in a right of way.
No, it has to be a,
No, it would be,
Right.
Katie might
It's
accept
gotta
that,
be
but-
on the plat.
it's gotta be on the plat
Yeah.
itself when you subdivide it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
And maybe your surveyor could even find the town line.
Really,
even better, yeah, well,
Well,
it's,
the mark, the
Kurt
mark is
knows
there
where
on
it
the
is.
road, so, and the bearings are
right,
unknown, so that would be pretty easy for
Yeah.
a surveyor to do.
okay,
So, yeah.
there's,
good to hear.
Okay.
So just to make sure I understand, to summarize it. So all I need is just a letter from Canaan saying, this is all we're looking, just approval from Enfield saying that
Yep.
we can provide frontage of 500 foot up to the state line, or, sorry, town
up to the
line.
Town line.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if they're fine with that, then they'll be fine with
Yep.
subdivision. And then it'll go into subdivision between the
Just
two
make
towns.
sure they record it also.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we have somebody online who wishes to ask a question. John
Bergeron.
Bergeron.
Yeah, I'm John Bergeron. I'm the chair of the Canaan Planning Board. And we require 50 feet of frontage on a road. So whatever you do on the Enfield side of the line, you got to bring something up to the town line that looks like a road. And we need 50 feet of that frontage on this new lot.
Does that include private roads?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Okay,
So,
so it's gotta be a 50-foot right away.
yeah, so my apologies. I must have taken that down very correctly in my notes. I said 500, and that's wrong, 50 foot.
okay, so I think we've got Canaan covered on this. From our point of view, we would use, or they would use, the existing private road, which is Brady Road. And maybe you could share the screen again? And then they would extend a 50-foot right-of-way across the Enfield portion of the property to the Canaan line. And then what happens after that is not within our jurisdiction. Is that sufficient for you?
I guess you're talking about Brady Road having a right of way come off it. And we want it to be more than a right of way. We want it to be a road, a street, or something you can call a street on the plat.
Well,
Brady Road is a private road as far as we know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine. You can you extend Brady Road right up to the town line?
It's a private road. The planning board doesn't have the authority to do that.
Extend the road.
Would the landowners be willing to do that?
Yeah, I was about to say who does. If that's me, then yes.
Okay,
Okay,
so you're gonna make a 90-degree turn on Brady. Extending it,
Kind of, it goes at a 90-degree turn right now anyway, so I just continue it straight.
okay.
And then it kind of curves up to the right a bit more to go to 7 Brady Road, so just keep going straight.
Just make it 50 feet wide and we're happy.
I think that can happen.
The one thing to be aware of is there are standards for, and it's all in the zoning, and Rob can provide them for the
Right.
construction of private roads.
Mhm.
It's more than a driveway.
That,
right.
that has to meet the
Right.
town road standard,
Correct. I'm just making them aware of that. It's
which,
not-
which can get expensive.
Unless it's
Just a-
grandfathered, which.
No, the extension's
The
not.
extension-
I was gonna say, the
would
current
not
portion
be.
is, but the
Right.
new portion would not be.
Correct. That,
Right.
I just wanted to be aware that there are standards that the road has to be built to.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Actually, do you know what the standards are?
Rob can provide them. I don't know them off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay, that's-
You could talk to our public works director.
Yep.
Jim Taylor,
Jim Taylor. Just make a note of
and,
that.
you can reach him at the same phone number that you used to get a hold of
Yeah,
Rob
it's in-
Taylor.
It's in the zoning
Yeah,
regs.
it's in the zoning somewhere.
If I can quickly find them.
I think it's in your subdivision regulations as well.
And
I'd have Jim do it, Kurt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he can tell you exactly
Yeah.
what, because there's not just the width, it's what kind of base you put down. The thickness, the depth of the
Right.
base and all that fun stuff.
the grading, the ditching,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kinds of,
And then if
Yep.
you run into any wetlands, then you can get into all that fun stuff.
oh yeah, there's no wetlands there, luckily.
Yeah, luckily, you're right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. If you go further down on the Enfield side, there's some wetland stuff, but we're not going to do anything down there.
Mhm.
Uh,
He may require you, what's the existing condition right now as it stands from May Street to where it stops? Or where you typically stop, or where you plow to? What's the condition there? You may have to upgrade that area too.
Shouldn't have to, because it'll be grandfathered.
as grandfather.
That's grandfather, it's just the extension.
I don't.
Yeah.
Jim,
That's.
that's up to Jim.
Let Jim Taylor
Yeah,
make
just,
that.
that may be an issue though.
It's up to Jim Taylor.
Yeah,
Okay, so be aware, you should talk to Jim Taylor.
Yeah.
And ask him what he is gonna require.
Mhm.
Because
can do
he's
that.
Public Works Director.
yeah.
Easy enough though. So and you said expensive. So does expensive mean 7 figures, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah, it
I
depends
don't
on how
know.
much work has to be done.
So-
it's more expensive than putting in a driveway.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's as far as I can go.
Yeah, and even still, driveways can be expensive in and of themselves. It can be a mile, it could be 50 feet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
an order of magnitude would be helpful, but if I can talk to Jim to get that,
Right,
then I'll talk to
right.
Jim
Yeah.
about that.
Well, you know how long it's gotta be, cause it's gotta go to the town line.
Yep. Well.
Wherever that is.
Maybe I know how long that is, but yeah, that's, okay, so I'll talk to Jim about that.
Surveyor will know.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Yeah, that's another reason you're gonna find the town line too.
yeah, for
You don't wanna
sure.
come up 10 feet short.
Yeah, no, I was pretty surprised that this lot says, yeah, like almost 15 acres, then my taxes that I'm paying say 11. So, yeah.
Says plus or minus.
Plus or minus a smidge, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I think
So,
that's it for me, unless you guys have any questions, or unless you guys have any other questions.
no, I think we're good. Your surveyor will
Mm.
undoubtedly, improve the map from the 1980, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And will provide us with accurate measurements. So I think we're good to go, board,
Public comment.
public comment. David and Sharon?
This isn't the property you were talking about, is it, David?
No,
I didn't think so.
no.
Would you like to make a comment anyhow?
No.
Okay,
Just make sure, from my experience, just make sure all your i's are dotted and all your t's are crossed. Take enough time to take that all the way through, because then there's no question later down the road. Somebody.
That's why we're talking to everyone here, that's why we're talking to the real estate attorneys, that's why we're trying to ask as many questions as we can now.
Yeah.
Because we don't wanna, I don't wanna, yeah, get anyone into any trouble, don't wanna cause any more headaches than need to be. Just wanna make sure that you guys can get what they're looking for.
Just one other thing to be aware of, the lot in Canaan, even though it's in Canaan, if you're gonna be using the road, the private road through Enfield,
Mhm.
and you're limited to 3,
Yes,
which is gonna max out.
Yep.
With that one lot,
certainly will.
they're not gonna be able to subdivide unless they
subdivide
build
the one
a town road.
But for whatever it's worth, it looks like that there could be some access through Anderson Hill, in Canaan as well, but that's not the first line of action that we want to explore.
Yeah. I'm just
So,
so whoever's going to buy that lot, if they're thinking, oh, I can, no zoning, I can put in a bunch of housing.
yeah, I'm guessing you guys don't want to put in an apartment complex. But, yeah,
Yeah, it's just
good to know.
something to be, no.
Awesome. Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much for that. Appreciate it.
okay,
Great.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming in.
Thanks for having us.
I understand that surveyors are booked out, 6 months at least.
Really, wow.
Yeah. So we'll probably see you later this year.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess that brought up another question I had for you guys. Given that there was a survey done that said, like, they gave coordinates, distances down to like the decimal foot or so, how much can that survey be relied upon in something like this? I'm guessing not at all.
That one,
Not at
Yeah.
all.
Not at all.
Not
Okay.
at all.
That's kind of what I
because you're
figured,
gonna
but
have
like,
I would not waste,
Well-
spend money
No,
going that route.
because you're gonna have to have that road on a new survey. It's gonna have to be on a survey if you're putting in a road, so
yeah,
you gotta use a surveyor.
yeah, the road itself, but I'm also like thinking like the other lines, especially the one that goes to the town line, but if the town line's just fuzzy anyways, then it sounds like this just like
Well,
This is
Whatever the
just
surveyor
throw-
decides.
throw whatever this is out for the most part of the survey, just
Yeah.
do his work.
Kind of start from scratch.
We're gonna need,
on this one.
we're gonna need something with a surveyor certificate on it.
Okay.
And Rob can probably give you a list of local surveyors that's work in this area.
Yeah, he has such a list
Yeah.
that he gives out to everybody.
Fantastic.
John Bergeron, are you generally satisfied from the Canaan point of view?
Yeah, it sounds very good at this point.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right,
all right,
great. Well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate your feedback, your thoughts and everything.
all right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Sure. Have a good night, guys.
We'll see you in a few months.
I think we wanna go back to public comments,
Okay,
because their public comment is on something.
let's go back to public comments. David or Sharon, or both of you?
Just last week.
You want to come up to the table, please?
And I don't think I signed it. I need.
I got you. No, you're okay.
Thanks. Thanks. Hello, everybody. I feel pretty important sitting at your table. So I think I'm just curious because I spoke with Rob Taylor about the Laramie Farms development.
Mhm.
I'm aware that it's sort of coming back and what he had given me a copy of the last proposal that he had. Now, maybe you have something that's different, but on what he copied for me, The road onto Maple Street is really for emergency access only. That's not gonna be that cars are gonna be driving up and down that
And it's
road.
gated too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I was part of the beginning of the Laramie development when they were Ironman back in 2003. So I'm well aware of that, why that road would just be for emergency only. But I was confused when David told me Ed's calling it the Maple Street project.
That's because the frontage is on Maple Street. The property frontage on Maple Street, but that's the road they are going, we've not seen the application. I can
Right,
put
this
that
is
out
all
there now.
speculation on our part.
All speculation. But they are looking to get the road access on Route 4,
That's,
going down by the tower.
yeah,
That's what they are, that's what they,
Similar to what they had done for their conceptual,
back,
Six-
the mid one.
Yeah, the
one
Iron Man.
5
Yeah,
years
Iron
ago.
Man number 2.
The one 5 years ago.
oh, okay.
and that would make the most sense, especially with the number of, they're putting in significantly more houses in their properties. in there. That
We,
would-
we think that may be the case, and we also think that the previous Ironman proposal received, DOT permission for access on Route 4.
Mhm.
So if it comes to us,
Mhm.
we would then expect that the main vehicular access would be to Route 4, and the one on
Maple Street.
Maple Street is strictly a pedestrian access so that residents can walk or bike into town without having to get into fighting with traffic on that section of Route 4, which can be, I would think, challenging.
Yeah, I would love to figure out really the distance and the pitch of that road and the distance from the top of that development all the way down that road and then all the way down Maple Street to town. Because why I think it's a nice concept, I don't think that people are really gonna use it that much because it's gonna be so steep. And is it gonna be plowed in the wintertime or, you know,
If and when we get the proposal.
Yeah.
All of that information.
Yeah.
Will be on their submission. And if it isn't, we will require them to
Yeah.
put it on their submission.
yeah. The only other thing that I said to Rob is if you're really looking at accessibility to the village, having people are gonna want, you know, in my mind, how people are gonna use a property is it accessibility to the village, to any of the services or to the lake or to the rail trail. They're gonna wanna come out onto Route 4, whether it's in their car or whether there was in a traffic study that was done back in 2003, one of the proposals was if they could come out to a sidewalk near Flanders Street, but they didn't own the property connecting them to Flanders Street. But did I hear that they got, they now own a property there because of the cut that they want to do off of Route 4?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
You know, if that's available, that might be a more viable option of how to have a better connectivity
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
the town.
You know, a decision like that is basically within the purview of the developer. We can certainly point out, and members of the public like yourself are encouraged to point out, you know, maybe better ways of accomplishing the goal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when the tide comes,
Okay.
we expect to see you here.
Oh, you
Yeah,
will.
because
Right.
I know.
And just, you know, as we've been saying, we, as a board, we have not seen anything from them.
Right,
So everything is
and what's is hearsay.
Yeah.
So
It was-
until they actually submit some paperwork. And even just we haven't even had a conceptual to speak of with those guys.
Not for over a year.
Couple of years ago, wasn't
That's
it?
what I mean. It was 2 or 3 years ago, and it's not the same project it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And that's the thing with conceptuals, even then, after that, they come back with a completely new set of plans.
Yeah.
So until we have a first public hearing.
Yeah.
And we accept the application, everything's hearsay.
Does it have to go through zoning before it goes through you guys?
Only if they have to
Probably
give
will for-
waivers. This one they probably gonna have.
Waivers or
Yeah, Rob
variances.
spoke, he knows of 2 special,
Yeah, there's probably a
Yeah.
wetland crossing.
That's a
And
special-
that may be the first time the public gets to see
Yeah.
actual plans.
Yeah.
Is that's step there.
Mhm.
and he thought that might be March 20th at their next.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We've been given dates and they've come and gone.
Okay,
When they submit the paperwork, it will be put on our docket.
Yeah.
And the public will be notified unless it's for a conceptual. And then we don't necessarily, do a formal warning.
Mhm.
You put it on your, agenda,
Yes.
this was
It,
just. an
it does go
oversight
on
this
the
time?
agenda.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
No?
Thank you, Lord,
All
for
right.
popping in like this and asking the question, and I
And it,
appreciate the
and
clarity.
it has to be 21 days in advance of the meeting that they put the application in. In
Mhm.
order to get it on zonings or onto ours, it has to be 21 days prior to the meeting.
That gives you some time to look it over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
coming in.
Thank you.
Well,
Sure.
we're not a butters, but obviously, would be a- would
Well,
be
you're
a fact.
concerned.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure a lot of people will be.
Well, Rob had some idea that there was still an existing sidewalk on Maple Street, and I said, well, there are a couple
Theoretically, there is.
properties.
Theoretically, there is.
There is.
a
No,
couple-
legally,
There's asphalt.
I mean, legally, there is.
There is legally a sidewalk, yes.
Legally, I would understand that,
Right.
yes, but as far as seeing where it is.
No,
Right, yeah, okay, thank
it
you.
was never abandoned. I guess that's the way of
Right,
putting
right,
it.
right. It was just stopped being
Never
used.
legally
It
abandoned.
was never
Right.
maintained.
It was never maintained,
Right, yeah.
because you don't have to maintain sidewalks.
You just have to maybe dig down a little bit to
Right.
find.
No, you can still see pavement if you
You
walk.
can see, yeah,
Only in a few places.
right.
All right,
Roads, yeah, but the road's straight, goes right. That's where the sidewalk goes.
okay,
Okay,
well,
Thank
thank you
you.
very
Good.
much.
thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Eric, select board report?
It'll be brief. The last meeting was really about setting the warrant and the budget presentation and the budget hearing. Happy to take questions for those of the people who did. We'll set the warrant and talk about the budget.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that?
Just comment.
Linda, any questions? Okay,
Need some hits on your YouTube on that meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't-
I don't know why that one got more attention than others, but
Well, it's got the budget.
but the budget hearing got half his number of hits.
No,
So it's sort of
Okay.
like, yeah.
next I will do the legislative report. Tomorrow is the governor's state of the state address to all of us. Of interest to us as a planning board are 5 different bills. The first one, and I'll give you the bill numbers in case you want to go look them up, is HB 1284. And that is a bill that will confer quasi judicial authority upon planning boards, or at least give towns the option to designate their planning boards as a quasi judicial body. That will enable the body, when it's doing hearings, to take testimony under oath and could provide for penalties if erroneous or false testimony is provided.
Will that change how we operate?
Not appreciably, people testifying will need to be sworn in. We will have to act in a more neutral capacity, and not that we don't now, but, we would have to act as a jury would act in terms of not being biased or showing prejudice. And
Have they, I guess, have they said what problem they're trying to solve?
Yes, in the legislative. Well, no.
no,
To
it's,
explain what they're doing.
it's actually, trying to put into the RSA's, what is considered best practice. And one of the members of my committee, municipal and government, and we are definitely in favor of this, but we think the bill needs a little bit, or maybe even a lot of tweaking. So it may not come before, the full legislature this year, but, it's in the works.
Term
The ZBA is a quasi judicial.
It is,
Exactly.
exactly.
The term allowing has the connotation that the town wouldn't have to do it. It would be up to the town to decide whether or not we want it to be.
I
quasi-judicial.
am unclear on that
Right,
point.
why I say the term allowing means you
Yeah.
don't have to do it.
Yeah,
It means the town would have to accept doing it.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it's not allowing, this would be a statewide, planning boards are quasi judicial,
Okay.
just like, ZBA. But read the bill, it'll tell you.
ZBA doesn't take, you don't take an oath on ZBA,
It's more of,
Well, that's,
right?
No, they don't.
This takes a term on
They
there's
don't.
perjury attached.
well, the ZBA, the difference between, because I served on the ZBA for a few years. It seems that the real strongest, biggest difference is that the ZBA this is the law. That's how it's supposed to operate. This is the law. It's black and white.
Right.
Either you get it or you don't. With us as the planning board, we have some gray area we can play with. We can
Right.
we can grant waivers.
Right,
The ZBA cannot grant a waiver.
right.
It's either,
They have
yes
to,
or no.
yeah, they have to, accept it or deny it.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
so, that's in the works, and I'm sure it's gonna wind up a little bit different or a lot different than what you will find on the state website if you look at it tomorrow. HB 1281 prohibits the adoption of any ordinance, code, or bylaw that prohibits occupancy by more than 3 unrelated persons in a single-family dwelling unit. That comes from, the city or town of Dover, because there's a perceived problem of lack of housing for their students at University of New Hampshire, and they are going into single-family homes. The landlords, who at this point seem to be commercial landlords rather than just somebody renting their house, are trying to pack as many people as they can because they rent by the bed. And, some of the neighbors seem to have, a little bit of a problem with noise and students acting like students. But it looks like the landlords, I think there's just 2 of them, are the ones that are behind this bill. because the town of Dover currently does have an ordinance that says no more than three, and they want that repealed, the landlords do. And that kind of butts up against the fire code, which says, and I think it's not more than 4 unrelated people in a single family unless it is sprinklered or otherwise regulated as a boarding house. So that's gonna be an interesting fight.
Didn't Hanover have that?
Hanover's.
Yeah, I think they did.
Keene has one, I remember.
Keene has one, Hanover has
Keene had
one.
that.
Yeah,
So
I imagine Plymouth does, but I don't know.
probably.
I think so. So the next one is HB 1302, which will allow towns the option of electing their conservation commission. For some towns, that might be a good idea. For others, not. It's, you know, it's allowing the towns to make that decision at a town meeting. And once a town decides, they can always rescind if it doesn't work out. HB 1396 intends to prohibit the inspection of the owner occupied unit in residential structures of 4 units or less by the building code enforcement person or agency. I don't think that's gonna pass because there are basically safety issues in a multi-family structure wherein, you know, if you have, a bug infestation, you're gonna wanna go into all of the units and inspect. By this bill, the owner could do anything they wanted in their owner occupied unit without having to pull a permit. And I think it was not well received. And the final bit of legislation, or in my opinion, craziness, is a constitutional amendment, CACR 16, which essentially would eliminate all state involvement in local land use matters and leave it up to the towns. The towns, if a developer required a variance, waiver, or change in land use, that those would have to be approved by all civic, veterans, fraternal, and not-for-profit association landowners who are affected or feel that they're affected. And the developer would have to file a financial impact statement stating how the development would affect schools, town facilities, traffic.
How does,
Who knows?
how does a, constitutional amendment get this far?
I have no idea. I think people are allowed to
Anybody can
come
put it in.
and put in whatever reality-based or unreality-based idea that
Which
they
takes
want
up
to.
how many people that you serve with? Takes up
It took us 45 minutes.
Times how many?
We didn't have a full house, but if we were a full committee, 20. Yeah. Oh, and the final kicker on this is all of these, things that need to be approved would have to be approved by 3/5 majority at town meeting. This is going nowhere. But, I mean, there's just a lot of things that I'm finding that are, they shouldn't get as far as they get.
Okay.
So,
We don't pay them by the hour.
What?
That's why we don't pay you guys by the hour.
Oh, I knew there was a reason. Thank you, Kurt. So that's the legislative report for this 2-week period. I'm sure you folks have read in the newspapers and seen on TV a lot of the other controversial issues having to do with educational vouchers and all sorts of stuff that doesn't really affect land use, so I will not continue further on that. So legislative, minutes of January 24.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
Second, but I have to change.
Mr. Rich has a change.
162. The Johnson Drive Property Use Committee is finalizing its recommendation. I think that should be Methodist Hill.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or corrections? Okay, hearing none. We have to do a roll call because Linda is remote.
I'm
Linda,
not so very remote. I'm right here.
yeah, but you're only in 2 dimensions on the TV screen.
Women are more complicated.
I know that.
Okay, I vote yes.
Okay.
I
Dan,
accept. Linda
uh,
Jones.
Brad,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Kurt, you can only vote yes if I appoint you.
I was wondering about that. I figured that was just by default.
So Kurt, you are hereby elevated. How do you vote?
Yes.
Okay,
So is Whitney. Yeah.
and
Not
Whitney,
voting.
oh, Whitney.
Yeah.
You are hereby elevated to a full voting member. You vote yes. I vote yes. HOP grant update. All I know is that there's a lot of information flowing back and forth between Plymouth and Enfield, via Rob and the staff at Resilience. That's all I can tell you on that.
Did we get is there a copy of the contract signed by both parties at this point? Do you know?
I do not know, but I can certainly find out.
And the total amount is 59,000, 61,000, something in that area. Have we made a payment yet to them?
I would doubt it.
I'm surprised because you would think that they would want a little bit upfront to start the process.
Can't do that.
Well,
Oh, you can't?
they presented the first deliverable, which
That's true.
was that,
That's
so
true.
they can invoice that first
They
deliverable. I
can't,
don't know if
yeah.
they have or not, but
No.
they
They can't.
Yeah,
have completed the first delivery.
yeah,
That's a Rob question.
that's a rough
Okay.
question. Absolutely.
I will ask him.
He is our contract administrator.
Yep.
Any other questions, Linda?
No,
Let's see, I've gotta find, okay. Next is Master Plan Task Force. We need to officially appoint or reappoint members.
How did that meeting go?
It went very well. Who was here for that? Eric was here for that. So the people that I have, and this will be subject to confirmation by, probably by Rob, are Brad, are you in?
Nope.
this year? Brad is not in. Okay. We cross you off.
I got sucked into another committee.
Yeah, I know. So we have, you're not on this list.
I get sucked into another committee.
Okay, so we have, Sealy, Alfiero, David Frack, Lindsay Smith. Phil's not in it either. Eric, do you remember? Is Phil
I thought he was.
He
Yeah, I
was.
thought he was interested in the Anderson one.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Whitney, you're on it?
I'm there for minutes.
Yeah. Then you're on it. And the people from the various committees are Joellen Courtney, Madeline Johnson, Shirley Green, and Dan Regan is the new member on the ZBA who's also interested in the master plan, so he decided to join us. Would somebody make a motion that these people be appointed or reappointed to the,
Make a motion to the people that you mentioned.
a motion has been made? Do I hear a
Second.
second?
Second,
Uh,
oh, I can't second anything remote, Lee?
yeah. Did you,
I'll second it.
okay, Linda seconded. Roll call vote, Linda,
Aye.
Dan, Brad,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Aye.
aye. It is unanimous. Let's see, what else do we have? In the agenda,
New business.
new business. Does anyone have any new business? You don't have any old business?
Well, new, well, sort of new, sort of old.
No, go ahead, Kurt.
Tim and I have been working, sort of outside the meeting on looking at the different zoning reg stuff and possible line, where to draw the lines for the new zoning districts. And we came up with something that looks, was pretty well, very similar to what we drew up there, maybe a few different areas changed and, we just, both of us feel that it'd be really helpful if like three of us as a non-quorum planning board members sat down on a weekly, bi-weekly basis and just started coming up with some ideas that we can either, then run by, at least something to run by the consultants and see if it's, we're on the right track or not. And then there's stuff out there, I was looking out there online, excuse me, and there's a lot of stuff, actually, we could just do it almost like straight cut and paste on cluster developments. There's some model ordinances that are out there that put out by the state or different regional planning commissions that they've written up. And either tweak, take those face value or tweak them a little bit, something like that. Same as with cell towers, though that's outside the housing, it's part of zoning. And if we're gonna do a package to town meeting with zoning, if we just do something that's, all just take the model ordinance and adopt that type of thing, because what we currently have is extremely outdated. And it's always coming in for waivers every time somebody does something with it. Because the way it was written, written at the time when cell towers first started and people didn't like them, so it was very restrictive. And especially with the height limits, things of that nature. So that could be just changed. And then also just as a subcommittee, looking at the different zones and thinking about what kind of setbacks do we want? Specifically, the road frontage for each zone, the side and back, sideline setbacks, what would be practical? And then come up with at least some numbers and then run them by the consultant and say, are these in line with what you would expect a modern zoning setbacks to look like type of thing? So that, because the way we're going right now, if we have to have something on paper by July to satisfy the grants, we're not gonna have a lot to present. Really, because and the consultants don't know the town like we know the town. So they're gonna be, I'm feeling they're gonna be asking us a lot more questions as to what do you want? Where do you want this stuff to be? And, we have, I guess the next meeting, we have the, what's it called?
Stakeholders.
Stakeholders, thank you.
29th.
And we'll get a lot of feedback there. And we can, if we can throw out some numbers to them. Or ask, no? You say no?
We need to go into that meeting completely open. It's them presenting to us, not the other way around. We've made that real clear,
All right,
is
Right.
we want them to lead it, not us lead them.
I agree 100%.
Make them part of the solution as
Right.
opposed to us.
well, but maybe give them some questions to.
No,
No,
you don't get to lead them. And any question you ask is a leading question.
we need,
Yeah, but if they don't know what questions to ask us, then,
we have $63,000 to pay consultants who have done this
Right, yeah,
before. And I'm pretty firmly committed to letting them take the lead rather than us.
Right.
Because that's what we're paying them for. We're paying them for their expertise, for their experience,
And they were
and
gonna write a list of questions that they
Right.
were planning.
They
on
are-
asking.
yes,
Exactly.
yeah, my guess is we'll have that on our next meeting, the 28th.
Right,
Or
right.
before.
Right.
So, I hate to shoot you and Tim down, but, there's a process here, and I don't think it would be in the best interest of the town or the project or the planning board to try to do an end run around that process.
no, it wouldn't be it would be, this is what we as the planning board are thinking. Is
No,
this-
but that's
That's the problem.
That's the problem. With our master plan, and the reason it was successful is that we went into it as a master planning task force
What do you think?
with an open
Right.
mind and no preconceived ideas.
Although Brandy and these consultants will do the same thing. Brandy did take them down a path,
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
did take them
Yes.
down a path. And Lindsay too, when she did her,
Right.
at
Yeah.
various meetings, post your ideas type of thing.
yeah,
But we never said, and I'm not saying we can't do this, but we never said, this is what we are thinking, what do you think? We didn't put
Right.
it that way.
yeah.
Well, what about, I got the impression from when the consultants were here that they won't be doing a specific cluster development on this section. I didn't get that impression. Or
We-
maybe,
We
well, they-
told them that Rob, I think indicated in the minutes that he would, that there are some areas that we can just cut and paste of our existing zoning that we don't need to worry about or change now. There are other areas like this whole thing,
the cluster, the cluster is,
definitely needs to be done.
it's a hodgepodge and it doesn't work.
Right. So I think that's on the list to tackle the cluster.
You think the consultants are gonna present something?
I think the consultants are gonna talk to the public and then
Right.
present something.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way it should work.
And that was my impression.
See what I'm, it'll save me a lot of time from doing.
Yeah, I don't want to,
Things, but
I don't want to see us getting ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Although to that point, to Kurt's point, we're running out of time,
Oh,
right? I mean, now, we're not behind
no,
because the meeting is on the 29th and
Right.
on the 28th, we're gonna get their questions and we'll give them feedback,
right.
but it's gonna be a very compressed period of time.
Yeah.
I agree.
And to Tim's concern at the last meeting was how much is really gonna get done?
right, and that's my concern
the-
also.
The HOP grant is for housing.
The HOP grant is for housing, but we all understood that
Right.
we want the whole thing done,
Yeah,
Right,
right? And
exactly.
we're not gonna get the whole thing done,
No,
but we need to get more than just the housing.
I
right.
agree.
And we're gonna
Somewhere
get,
in the middle.
we're gonna get as much done as we can with the concentration on housing,
Right,
and whatever is undone at the end of the HOP grant, when we run out of money, will be left to us as a planning
Right.
board to either tackle between the end of July and the time we bring it forth in 2025 to the town meeting, or we just, put it down as it is. And then we see if the town will appropriate money, or we can get other grant money. And we have a planning firm work on it, zoning rewrite part 2, just like we're doing with the planning document.
Master plan.
And it may also be that after the session on the 29th, they come back with recommendations. They may very well say, using the cluster development as an
Right.
example, there's 3 examples. You guys need to decide.
Which one?
And
Yeah.
then there is a very good opportunity for a couple of
Right.
very interested parties to go through them and do that legwork and come back with a,
Right.
Yeah,
here's what we think will work for us. And the consultants can either say, well, that's illegal, don't do it, or,
Right.
that looks good. So there may be opportunities for things like that where there are examples, but we don't know what those opportunities are yet.
right.
But I think there's probably some opportunity to do what you're saying. We just need to wait for them to say, well, we heard this.
Yep.
We need to, you need something, well, cluster is probably a good example.
Clusters are good because it's also gonna go with workforce housing.
Right. No, I'm like, here's an example of, and here's 3 different towns that do it well.
Right.
We're gonna write one that looks somewhat like these 3. Do you guys
Right.
wanna do it yourselves? You and Tim
Right,
and
I mean, there's,
somebody
like I
else could
said,
probably
there's
do it.
the state planning office had and the regional.
we did this.
Have model ordinance.
Right.
Here it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You can,
Right. But we don't wanna get ahead of them because it may
Right.
be that everyone in town that comes and says, no,
Right.
we don't want cluster housing. We want lots of small lots.
Right.
We want only 1 house per 100 acres. They may, who knows?
Yeah,
what people
we don't know
come
what
back with.
people are gonna say.
Well, we
Yeah.
do, but.
Well, we
But
do,
I
but
don't
we
wanna
can't
presume,
let
right, we
on
don't
that
wanna
we
presume.
know.
Exactly.
Right, we don't wanna presume. We want people to stay
With
with
the
it.
stakeholders we're bringing, there's gonna be all kinds of different opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's a good thing.
absolutely. It's gonna be a really good dialogue, I think. And from that, we'll start to get some direction. Are we done discussing this?
I got one on the, well, sort of, I guess you can call it new business.
Okay,
It's just more of a curiosity. The property, the LaCroix, the property that was being on the market, I guess still on
Yeah.
the market, that was gonna be developed behind Chica Auto.
Yeah.
Chica Valley, Chica Auto, whatever it is.
bingo hall.
Yes, what was, you recall what the original listing price was?
I've heard different numbers.
I'm pretty sure it was, low 7 figures, million something.
That's what I recall.
Yeah.
So either the website that's listing it now is Mr. Zero, or he dropped the price significantly.
You might have.
Yeah.
Don't
I
know.
was just playing around on real estates and sites, and that one popped up and the price was like 100,000. It's like, that can't be right.
Hmm.
So I'm just
Don't know.
right, yeah, I was just like wondering, what was I thought it was listed for
Who
a
was?
million plus or
How many
minus.
Yeah. Isn't that
What's
like
that? What's that?
40 some
40
odd?
some, 40 something, 40,
Yeah.
45.
And there's more in Canaan?
Right.
Yeah, plus another lot in Canaan that's, could be accessed through this lot. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a curiosity thing, see, that might change things.
It could. I mean, he thought he had a buyer and,
Yeah.
He did.
and the deal fell through
Yeah.
thanks to DOT and their
Yeah.
highway access requirements or whatever.
Mhm.
And, that's
That's it.
willing buyer, willing seller,
Right.
free market. So,
Can I make a motion to adjourn or is it too early?
Second,
wait, I have.
Oh, you've
we
got
have-
new
we-
business?
No, I have item number 12, which is to announce next meeting on February 28th. It's 2 weeks from tonight.
So that'll be, talking to the consultant only,
I believe so.
no hearings.
There
No.
isn't any.
No hearing
Oh,
scheduled.
well,
or-
just the public group. The group stakeholder ones,
That's the
On the
next
29th,
the
it's the next
29th.
day. It's the next night.
oh,
We're meeting with them alone on the 28th, and then we'll have the stakeholders the next night.
oh, I missed that on my calendar then.
Yeah.
Okay, I better,
28th, 29th.
okay.
Is it here? Or are we gonna
I
be
think
down at
here.
the community building? It'll be here.
Well, I guess
As far as I know.
Okay,
And I think I heard Rob say something about light refreshments, but I'm not sure about that.
Food is always good.
It is,
right,
It's the beverages that are critical.
that's right.
yes, and that ain't gonna happen here.
It's gonna happen in public.
Pizzas,
Could do it in the community building, but you can't do it in this one.
Well, maybe we should move it.
Now can I
Dan, it's your turn.
make a motion to adjourn?
You can
Second.
do that. Motion made and seconded.
I don't think we need a.
We don't need a roll call
adjourn.
for that. It's
No.
not debatable. All in favor? Aye.
I.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:41.
You in the AM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
see you in 2 weeks, Linda.
Five.